Hello and welcome to a brief introduction to craft beer by me, reality404. This is a seminar on different styles of beer, starting basically from easy drinking beer that I think is easy for people to get into, going into more difficult beer, but there's a few difficult beers in between. Join in. So I was talking with Frankie about doing beer boxes, but with Brexit it's impossible for me to do a beer box. So I'm very much looking forward to Frankie's seminar because his beer box I've ordered and hopefully we'll get him. So I can make this interactive, but if you want to join in, I do not advise you try all the beers in this seminar. But if you want to follow along, I would recommend you have a lager, IPA, Belgian beer and a stout handy. You can add reality404 on Untapped and how many beers you drink while watching. There will be a barcode on screen as well, so you can just flick your phone at that to add me, and all the beers in the seminar will have a barcode for Untapped. So let's start the seminar because I've got quite a lot to go through in half an hour. What is craft beer? Craft beer is generally a modern term for a small independent brewery. Before craft beer, you had microbrewery and microbrewery. In the UK, you had microbrewery. Microbrewery was a small brewery that generally made a small volume of beer. It wasn't necessarily craft. Craft doesn't really exist, but it's a term that everyone now uses. So I've decided to call my seminar that. It does not matter if the beer is good or artisanal. For craft, it's just a term. But generally, craft breweries care about the beer they produce, and they often make some very good beer as a result. So lager. There are two main types of beer. They are bottom fermented and top fermented. That means with top fermented beer, the beer ferments from the top with top yeast, and a bottom ferments from the bottom with bottom yeast. There's differences like ale yeast, which is top fermented, is hotter than lager, which is colder. Lager generally takes longer. But lager is the most popular beer in the world by a long way. Lager sadly are often looked down upon in the craft beer world, but it shouldn't be. There are loads of amazing styles and way too many to list that are worth checking out. Recently, there has been a trend to brew craft lager. Generally, this means using high quality of ingredients and letting the beer ferment longer, because lager takes a long time to produce. A lot of breweries try and shortcut that. So this is a can of Gruber Hell. So this is a Hell style lager, brewed in Germany. It's craft beer. I have not done my research on this one, apart from they are a very hyped German craft brewery, and that was a terrible call because now it's going to go everywhere, which is brilliant because now we'll actually have to get a cloth. And failed to mop that up, but yes. So they are a craft brewery from Germany that make really good beer. So Hell's are quite a popular style of German beer. Also very popular in Austria. A lot of craft breweries produce this style around Europe. The reason why I started with this is, if you're drinking lager at the moment, this is one of the most popular styles of lager in the world. It's very drinkable. There's some bitterness you can get from the European hops, but it's very clean, it's very smooth, and there's really nice carbonation. If you're used to drinking lager, traditional like mass-produced lager you get in your supermarket or your Aldi, this is a very good introduction into craft beer. It's basically slightly more refined than your typical Hells. It's nothing outstanding in terms of like it will blow your mind, but it is an outstanding beer. This is really, really good. Yeah, so that's a Hells. that's really interesting. So now we can move into, so next we have a Pilsner. Now Pilsner is traditionally Czech, and Czech were the first to invent lager. Czech Pilsner is amazing and really worth checking out. So here we have Deya, which is an English brewery from Cheltenham, and this is a Bretted pils. So Brett is a thing you get, and there's a few ways of Bretting beer, but generally if you leave a beer in an oak barrel, it will develop Brett characters, and that generally means it's dry, maybe slightly funky. And if you've had like a Trappist beer and you've had Orville, then you will know what Brett is like. It's very common. So I use the same glass because it's lager. So this is more complex. There's sort of barrels because this has been left in barrel, and it smells dry, whereby this doesn't smell dry. And it's very different. Very, very different than the Hells from Gruber, or Gruber, however you say it. Basically, this has a lot of wine or white wine characteristics. And there's a lot of barrel, but it's still very easy to drink. This is also a lot more money. This is a special occasion, like if you really wanted to enjoy a lager, because this takes a lot more effort to brew, and it's kept for a long time. So the storage cost, I think that was £5 compared to this, which I picked up for £3, and that's imported into the UK. So yeah, so that is lager. And I did say this would be a brief introduction. I could go into way more detail, but next we move on to wheat beer. Now wheat beer is a type of Witbeir, or wheat beer, is a type of wheat beer traditionally made in Belgium. This style almost went extinct, but was revived by Perry Celles in 1966 with Hoegaarden. Unfortunately, there was a fire in 1985, and Celles had to sell the brewery to Interbrew. At the time, they were the largest brewery in Belgium, to rebuild the brewery. Over time, Celles felt unhappy with the muck Interbrew messing around with his recipe. So he moved to Texas and tried to start a brewery, but it failed in the end. Hefeweizen is available everywhere in Europe. It's not craft at all, it is mass produced, but it's a good example of a wheat beer you can get almost anywhere. Yeah, so we're going to move on to this beer. So this is Queer Brewing's Witbeir, and this is called Flowers. So Flowers is by the Queer Brewing Project, which is brewed at Cloudwater in Manchester on their behalf. It's a wheat beer, craft wheat beer based on Allagash White. Allagash White is one of the most famous craft wheat beers there is, but you can only get it in sort of New England in America. You can't get it outside. So, and the person that runs Queer Brewing Project, Lily's favourite beer is Allagash White. So when Cloudwater had a program to try and get new breweries, showcase new breweries, and one of the beers she wanted to make was an Allagash White clone. And now they've launched their core range of beers, the Queer Brewing Project, and this is one of them, and this is a wheat beer. So with a wheat beer, you get more like wheat, but you also get orange peel, coriander, and other spices that I can't remember. It might even say. Yeah, and you get the Saz hops and the Tetanine hops. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's easy drinking. It's a bit more difficult than a lager, but it's really, really, really easy to drink. And yeah, it's fantastic. So that is Quiz Brewing Projects Witbeir flowers. So that is awesome. Right, Belgian Pale Ale. So Belgian Pale Ale is a pale ale from Belgium, the land of fries and Frankie. There's many styles, famous styles, one of the most popular styles being the Vel. In recent years, it started to be brewed, the style started to be brewed more and more by craft breweries. You can do a lot with the style. We'll explore that in the next slide in a bit. So, Belgian Pale Ale is, a lot of people in the craft beer world will regard it as a boring style, but it's not at all. There are some amazing Belgian examples out there. The Vel is fantastic. The Vel is not craft, it's a massive, massive brewery, but I think they're still family owned, which is awesome. So yeah, this is a Cloudwater example of a Belgian blonde ale. I put pale ale in my slide. Maybe I'll change that. But this is a Belgian blonde ale. I'll take on this classical style using single origin coffee beans. So Belgian pale, Belgian blonde ale, kind of interchangeable, slightly different. I'll probably correct that in my slide. But yeah, so it's a strong Belgian beer. But this, what makes this interesting is you can do a load with this. So this has, this is coffee infused. So they've infused coffee into this. And right off the bat, I get coffee. I get sweetness because this is quite a sweet beer. I get a bit of the malt. But yeah, really it's a coffeeness. So yeah, loads of coffee. Loads of coffee. Sweet. Back to this Cloudwater Belgian Pale Ale. Sorry, I'm trying to record a seminar and people are playing music. And I've asked them not to. So if there's someone in the background, I will try and edit it out. So Belgian Blonde Ale. I'll take on this classical style using single origin coffee beans. So yeah, that's really nice. It's very Belgian in the yeast profile used. Very sweet, but with a nice coffee addition. That is amazing. And that's a bit more difficult to drink than a wheat beer, a bit more difficult to drink than the Hells and the Pils. But it is a very easy beer. And the Vel, even though it's not craft, is really easy to pick up. And it's worth exploring that style if you want to get into this kind of beer. Let's quickly finish this. Alright, so that was that. Next we have IPA. Now, IPA stands for Indian Pale Ale. Indian Pale Ale is a beer that is heavily hopped. There is a myth that it got its name from going over to India in ships from England with extra hops being used to preserve the beer, but this is sadly a myth. IPA has become one, if not the most trendy craft beers to brew. It is everywhere. There are many styles of IPA. You can do almost anything with it. So an IPA should really be high fives to 7.5. It should not be a 4%, 3% beer, but a lot of IPAs are, and they shouldn't really be called IPA. A session IPA is a good name to call something. So this is Transcendental Northern Monk Far Out IPA, 6.5%. It's not an incredible beer, but I picked this because it was the only normal IPA I had in the fridge. So I haven't actually tried this before. Yeah, so that's a lot more difficult to drink. So that is like, I don't know. It's very hoppy, it's quite bitter, some orange. a bit of mango. It's really, really pleasant. It's really difficult to describe beer, but that is very good. Yeah, okay. So that is an IPA. So next up we will go for a traditional, more traditional, not traditional. Anyway, next up we'll go for a double IPA. So a double IPA is generally double the hops. Really, there's other definitions. Some breweries skimp out and don't do double the hops, but that's generally what a double IPA is. Now this is a US IPA from one of the most hyped breweries in the world by Trillium, but it's not by Trillium. It's actually brewed by Cloudwater. A lot of these beers seem similar to Cloudwater. But yes. So it's 9%, which brewed in Manchester, originally brewed in Massachusetts or Boston. Yeah, so let's try this. Oh yeah, so there's mango, that's sweet. That's sort of way different. It's sweeter, it's more balanced, it does taste a bit stronger, but it's not too much stronger. Yeah, so that is really nice. Yeah, so I really recommend, like, if you like an IPA and you want to explore a bit more, you really try a double IPA. They are, yeah, double IPA was one of my favorite styles a few years ago. I've had too much beer now that I've, yeah. But yes, so anyway, let's move on. Next we have a triple IPA. So triple IPA, of course, is generally triple the hops, stronger again in volume. This is 10.5. Now, I said you could do almost anything with an IPA. This is an interesting IPA because they've added lactose. Lactose is from milk, it's a sugar. It doesn't just provide sweetness, but it also provides body. And it also changes the taste. So this has Citra, Strata, Motica and Sabro hops. So this combination of hops and lactose will taste very interesting. So let's try it. It's like drinking orange juice, essentially. It is incredible. And if you're not a vegan or you're not a vegetarian or you're not allergic to lactose, then this is really worth trying. Because it is very different, but it's still an IPA. You've still got the hop bitterness. It's got the strength. That is 10.5, so that is quite strong. But yeah, it is really good. Now, next move on. Actually, keep the same glass. 2. Sorry if I'm moving a bit fast, I got a lot to get through. So next up we have Northern Monk. OF, so original series or something, I can't remember. Oh no, Origin Flat Store, where they started. 024. This is a quad IPA. So here we go into the territory of ludicrous. This is just stupid. At this point, it's too strong, too hoppy, too sweet, but it's a fun beer to try from now and then. There's not many of these made. I've had this in the fridge for months, so it's probably a bit old. Very sweet. Lots of hops. It's very good, but it's also pointless at this point. I would stop at a triple. It's a fantastic beer though, and I had to drink it for the sake of drinking a quad IPA. So yeah, so that is a quad IPA. Yeah, so that's a quad IPA. Next, this is Trappist. This is West Haven 12. Normally you would use a sort of round glass. What do they call them? Can't remember. Like a bit like a wine glass, but more outwards. This is the wrong glass for this. Belgians hate when you use the wrong glass. But for Frankie, I've got a special thing. This is called a funnel. So, let's open this quick. Yeah, so this used to be voted as the world's best beer for a long time. Yeah, all joking aside, that is incredible. And I will be giving this, I'm not going to drink this, I'm giving this to my dad. So yeah, it's not going to go to waste. I was just being stupid because I had to be. But no, this is a fantastic beer. I prefer Rockwell 12, but out of all the Trappist beers, yeah. So I should explain Trappist. Trappist is a beer made by Benedictine monks. The authentic Trappist product label is a strict set of rules. Basically, the monks have to do a certain amount of work to be entitled to that label. Most people think of Trappist beer as Belgium, but Trappist beer is also made in a bunch of other countries as well, such as the Netherlands, England, Austria, Italy, and the United States. There are many styles of Trappist beer, but the most common are double, triple, and quad, or double. There is a debate if Trappist is craft beer. Generally, the breweries are small, apart from Chimney, and due to the monks' close involvement, I think it counts as craft beer personally. I'm actually going to pour some into a glass because I do want to appreciate this. This is fantastic. A fantastic beer. And it rightly, before craft beer became what craft beer is, and there wasn't much beer, the exclusivity, you have to go to the monastery to get this beer, meant that this was classed as world class. But yeah, that is fantastic. That is really, really good. It tastes of like caramel, toffee, sweet. It's really, really good. So now we move on to sour and Lambic and method traditional. In the past, all beer would have been sour until people discovered how yeast worked and how to cultivate it. There are a few ways to make sour beer. For example, leaving beer out in a Kolsch, a big copper vat, to make Lambic. The other common method are using a wild yeast strain, so it's like taken from apples or outdoor stuff, or adding lactic acid to the beer, because lactic acid makes stuff sour. Sour beers have become very popular in recent times with craft breweries. There's a number of breweries making Lambic style beer around the world that are not from where Lambic is normally made, in Brussels, however you say that. They can't be called Lambic due to the EU protection on the name. There's a few, like you can't call Goose and so on. So this is technically a Lambic, but I can't call it a Lambic. This is from Scotland. This is in a Kolsch. This was bottled in 2018, but it's using various different vintages. I think the label says. I'm running out of time. They started this in 2015. Doesn't say. Got to be quick. So yeah, this is 3 different blends. Oh wow, that popped. Of a beer, and I am so hyped to try this. So let's try this. Actually, let's keep that. So this is Fyne Ales. What's it called? Fyne Ales are home 3-year blend. So it's a 3-year blend. This is essentially a Lambic from Scotland, and it tastes like a Lambic from Scotland. It is fantastic. That is really, really good. If someone gave me that blindfolded, I would absolutely say that is a Lambic. That is fantastic. Now we're getting into the territory of beer that is very difficult to drink if you don't like sour beer. But getting into beer, this is a style that is really worth looking into, really worth learning. There are so many breweries around Europe, craft breweries, now making these styles of beers. And it is really, some are quite expensive, some are, well, they're all expensive. That was like £10, which is very expensive. But to try something that's made like that in Scotland is, it's incredible. And yeah, don't worry, I will, a lot of these beers I'm sharing, and a lot of them I will be able to drink tomorrow by sticking a cork in them. They won't go to waste. So now we move on to two of my favourite beers, an Imperial Porter and an Imperial Stout. Imperial Porter, Imperial Stouts are strong versions of Porter / Stout. The name Imperial comes from the Russian royal family that loved strong beers from London and England and had them imported into Russia. Porter Stout are two very similar styles. In fact, they would have been the same beer in the past. You would ask for a stout porter. These days, a porter is generally a lighter, less strong beer, and the stout is a more heavy beer. Imperial Porter Stout is one of my favourite styles of beer. In the craft beer world, so many things have been done to porters and stouts, such as barrel aging and pastry stouts, with loads of weird sweet things added. So that's some fun. So this is Omnipollo, which is from Sweden, but brewed by Dukes, which I think Swedish. I think this is Anagram, and this is a blueberry cheesecake stout. So this is bonkers. This is really, really bonkers. So I first had this, I was with a German guy randomly in Brighton in a bar about 5 years ago. And we were at Brewdog's bar that had just opened, and they had this. They had the barrel aged version, that was 15%, and this is 12%. So this is much more reasonable. But it smells of blueberry, it smells of cheesecake, it smells crazy. This is a pastry stout. This is one of the first pastry stouts there were. And Omnipollo are absolutely worth checking out. Some of their beers are expensive. This is £9, which isn't too bad, but it's still very, very expensive. That's smooth, that's chocolatey, that's rich, that's cheesecakey, and that's blueberry. That is bonkers. That is so weird. It's completely, that is bonkers, truly weird. And like 4 years ago when I first had this, blew my mind. These days, this is tame. There are way more insane things than this now. Back then, it was bonkers. And it's still bonkers. I mean, it's a blueberry and cheesecake stout. So yeah, that is Anagram by Omnipollo and Dukes, a Swedish pastry imperial stout. Right, so we got one glass. Oh no, we've got two glasses. I'm going to put this to the side. Right. So now let's go on to this. So, what is Norway famous for apart from a bald guy that likes to play drum and bass? LERVIG is a fantastic brewery. They make some amazing imperial stouts. And this is a barrel-aged 3-bean stout. This is the Bourbon barrel-aged version. The normal version of this is fantastic and really good value. I paid £4.75 for a can of this. The same percentage, still 12%. That's stupidly, insanely good value, especially considering it comes from Norway. So, but this I paid, this was 12 quid. This is very expensive, but I had to try it. So this is a stout with cocoa, vanilla, and tonka beans. Aged in bourbon barrels. Tonka beans are fascinating. They are poisonous, and they are banned in the United States. But, yeah. And that's the 2020 version. There's been a few different versions. So yeah, let's try this. Well, let's smell it. Bourbon, Oh yeah, loads of bourbon. Chocolate, vanilla, tonka. Tonka is sort of like cinnamon but amplified with a bit of vanilla. That is insane. Yeah, that's not much going to see how long we're going. Okay, we're going a bit over. Hopefully they'll allow a 45-minute seminar. When I edit the few things I need to edit out, it should be fine. Because that's amazing. Yeah, so what do we get? We get vanilla, tonka, yeah. So this is very complex. This is, if you go hang on. Compared to the first beer to this, that is undrinkable if you don't know beer. But that's like wine and stuff. But it's fantastic. This is my favourite beer in the world. Is Free Bean Rum Edition, and this is the bourbon. And the bourbon is. I wish I had another can of this, but it's too expensive to buy. I'll put a stopper on this and have this tomorrow, and hopefully appreciate it, because I know I can't appreciate it fully. But yeah, that is incredible. From there, we go to this. So this is from Estonia. This is 11.5% cognac barrel aged imperial porter. So this is a porter, but it's an imperial, but it's a Baltic porter, and a Baltic porter means, unlike most porter, which is top fermented and is an ale, Baltic porter is bottom fermented. So this is a lager. This happened after people brought imperial stouts to Russia and places, but they couldn't brew real ale. They could brew lager, so they brewed these. So this is from Estonia. This brewery is fantastic. This is aged in cognac barrels, which is insane, like truly bonkers level. So let's pour this into here. Don't pour too much. Quite strong. How strong is this? 11.5. Okay, it's not too crazy. Yeah, so this is a porter. So let's try this. Loads of cognac, but that's much lighter than what we just had, which was the Free Bean, because the porter is generally lighter, but it's fantastic. There's loads of cognac. There's a bit of malt. Yeah, it's sweet, it's nice, it's really, really good. So, yeah, cool. Right, so that is basically my seminar. Thank you for listening to my seminar. I hope it was interesting. I hope you learned a lot about beer. That is a brief introduction to craft beer. Thank you. Oh, I forgot. I have one more thing to do, as always. So, Icebock. Icebock is a style of beer from Germany. The story of how it was made was a brewer's apprentice left a barrel of beer out after the brewer told the apprentice to bring it inside. The beer froze, and so the brewer got mad and made the apprentice drink some. The apprentice kept drinking, so the brewer tried some, and the rest is history. It is a very strong style. It is typical to see beers in the high 10% range. It's been made in stupid strengths by a lot of craft breweries. How strong? Question mark. Yeah, how strong? That's an interesting question. So there's been like Sink the Bismarck, which was like 30%. There's been other beers. There was two breweries, Brewdog and the German brewery, trying to produce the world's strongest beer, and they had a fight for a while, which stopped for some time. They came together and they've made a beer, and it's in a small bottle, and it's 57.8%. So this is stronger than most spirits. Oh dear, what the fuck am I doing? Do I have a glass? So let's open this and I'll pause while I get a glass. So I'm back with a glass. Let's pour this 57.8% Icebock into a small glass, and I have a very, very small amount. Yeah, so Icebock is a frozen beer. Gets stronger because it's frozen. You can freeze it a number of times to produce something 57.8%. Because this is not distilled. So this is proper beer. So it smells like alcohol. It smells sweet. But there isn't. It smells nice. It's not horrible. Yeah, that's insane. That's just like, yeah. Sweet alcohol, but there is a nice flavour to it. But yeah, that is it. So, thank you for tuning in to my seminar. I hope you actually have learned something. This is actually the end. Yeah, enjoy your revision, stay safe, and goodbye.